When the news of my husband Xie Chen's death in battle reached the capital, I fainted dead away. When I woke up, my sister-in-law, holding a bowl of medicinal soup with reddened eyes, urged me, "Sister-in-law, you must take care of your health. Mother has already sent a letter to the Shen family, allowing you to return home. Your well-being is of utmost importance." She didn't know that I had been reborn. In my previous life, I drank the medicinal soup she brought, and when I woke up, I found myself lying next to the young master who was staying in the mansion. I was caught in bed with another man, unable to defend myself. Before my family could arrive, the Xie clan, accusing me of infidelity and lack of virtue, drowned me in a pond. Shortly after my death, Xie Chen returned to the capital, resurrected from the dead, accompanied by his pregnant mistress. The mistress took my place as the legitimate wife, while Xie Chen rose 3 ranks in succession, soaring to great heights. The Shen family was condemned and criticized because of me, and my parents died of anger and despair. Reborn and back, I look at that bowl of medicinal soup. This time, whether I live or die doesn't matter. I want the entire Xie family to die with me. Sister-in-law, please drink this ginseng soup while it's hot. After drinking it, have a good sleep and you'll be fine. My sister-in-law, Xie Ruyan, stood by my bedside holding the medicine. That bowl of spiked ginseng soup steamed before me like a nightmare, the scene of being caught in adultery from my past life still vivid in my mind. Back then, it was Xie Ruyan who kicked open the door with others, let out a scream, and drew the mourners from the front courtyard. With reddened eyes, she accused me. "My brother's body is not yet cold in the grave. How could you commit adultery with our cousin in his very room? How can you face my brother? He gave his life for the country on the battlefield, yet you betray him behind closed doors. Shen Ruyue, you have no shame." A tide of insults and accusations washed over me, drowning me. "Sister-in-law, what's wrong with you?" Xie Ruyan brought the ginseng soup to my lips. I feigned discomfort and pushed the ginseng soup away. "My mouth is terribly bitter. I don't want to drink it." Xie Ruyan smiled and said, "How could it be bitter? I made 2 bowls. I'll drink with you, sister-in-law." She set down the ginseng soup and picked up the other bowl on the table. I held her hand. "Sister, please bring me a few candied plums. I'll have one after drinking the ginseng soup." A flicker of impatience crossed Xie Ruyan's brow, but she suppressed it and immediately stood up to leave. I swapped the 2 bowls of ginseng soup. When Xie Ruyan returned with the candied plums, I picked up the ginseng soup and drank it all in one go, then placed a plum in my mouth and smiled at her. "Sister, you should drink yours while it's hot too." Seeing that I had finished mine, Xie Ruyan couldn't hide her delight and picked up her bowl, drinking the specially prepared ginseng soup to the last drop. I held her hand, chatting about this and that, and before the time it takes to finish a cup of tea, a blush spread across her face, and she felt feverish all over. Propping her head up, she said, "Sister-in-law, why am I so hot?" She looked at me as if suddenly awakened. "Did you switch my ginseng soup?" I stood up and helped her to her feet. "What do you mean by switching the ginseng soup? Sister, isn't the ginseng soup the same? Didn't you bring it in yourself?" I laid the weak Xie Ruyan on the bed, watching as her face flushed and she began tearing at her clothes. I pulled the cloak beside me, blew out the candle, and gently closed the door as I left. I hid outside the door and watched as, in no time at all, a half-drunk man eagerly pushed the door open, saying, "My beauty, I'm here, soon." The sounds of indecent pleasure echoed from within. I spat in disgust, then turned and headed for the morning hall in the outer courtyard. In the previous life, when the affair was exposed, the clan members were all present because they had arrived in the capital late at night. Thus, they were startled by Xie Ruyan's scream early in the morning and appeared in my courtyard, trapping me inside the room. This time, I will first guard the morning hall to welcome the arrival of the clan members, so that I can wait for the grand spectacle to begin tomorrow. When the clan members arrived, it was nearly dawn. My mother-in-law had taken a calming decoction and was sound asleep, making it impossible for her to wake up at this time. The elders and aunts of the clan saw me and my maid guarding the morning hall, burning paper money in the cold wind, my eyes swollen and red from crying, and my mourning clothes making me appear pitiful and vulnerable. Ruyue is truly pitiful, widowed at such a young age. in the depths of winter, you still keep watch alone, such devotion. What will become of you in the future? My maid, Chundao, pleaded with reddened eyes. Madam hasn't eaten for days. Only keeping vigil in the morning hall. Please, elders of the clan, persuade my lady. She has already fainted from weeping several times. A clan aunt, her heart aching, helped me up, Ryue. The elders all know your filial piety, but you must take care of your health as well. I wiped my eyes with a handkerchief soaked in ginger juice, tears streaming down my face. Weakly, I walked to the center of the morning hall, gazing at the empty coffin that held only his clothes, and let out a single, heart-wrenching cry. Husband, please don't abandon Ryue. Then he rushed toward the coffin. The maids and old women, quick-eyed and swift-handed, grabbed hold of me. Having been weak for many days, I only managed to break a layer of skin before half fainting. How could she have thrown herself against the coffin? Poor thing. Quick, call for a doctor. Quickly help the lady back to her room. Several aunts from the clan kindly assisted me back to my room, while others went to call for a doctor. As I entered my courtyard, I could only hear the seductive moans of a woman and the heavy panting of a man. I was inwardly shocked. The dosage of the drug they had used was too strong, and it hadn't worn off even after a whole night. The sounds made everyone blush. One of the aunts sternly shouted, "The general's mansion is in mourning. Who is inside? How dare they engage in such acts in broad daylight?" My face turned deathly pale as I tightly grasped my aunt's sleeves. Could there be a thief inside? This is my inner courtyard. How could anyone dare to do such shameless things here? They have humiliated our general's mansion like this. How can I ever face my husband again? The aunts, being capable women, immediately sent for the servants. Break the door down. The door was violently forced open, followed by a sharp scream from inside. The group outside could now see the scene within clearly. Xie Ruyan was completely naked, entangled with a man. Her body covered in bruises from their passionate encounter. I screamed, "Ruyan, how could you be in my room? Who is this man? You, an unmarried woman, how dare you do such a thing? Your brother's body is not yet cold, and you're here engaging in illicit relations with an outsider. How can you face your brother? And in your sister-in-law's room, no less. How can you be so shameless?" The aunts chattered angrily. Heavens, how could an unmarried woman be so wanton and fickle? Who is this man? Drag him out and beat him to death. So impatient, not even sparing her brother's funeral. Suddenly, a powerful voice rang out from the courtyard gate. "Shen Ryue, this adulteress, throw her into the pig cage. My son's body is not yet cold, and she is already having an affair with another man." The person who arrived was my mother-in-law. Seeing my courtyard filled with people, all pointing and whispering around the room, she grew even more smug. "Someone, go and call for help to tie up that pair of shameless dogs inside and bring them out. Let everyone see this disgraceful harlot. My son has just died, and she is already flirting with another man. Shen Ryue, I'm going to open the ancestral hall and have you, this harlot, drowned in a pig cage." My mother-in-law was immersed in the triumph of catching an adulterer, completely oblivious to the indescribable looks everyone was giving her. In my previous life, she and my sister-in-law joined forces to ruin my reputation and cause my tragic death. This time, with the knife cutting into her own flesh, I wonder how she will react. "Mother, what are you saying?" I covered my chest, tears welling in my eyes, as I stepped forward from beside my aunt. The mother-in-law's scream suddenly caught in her throat, then turned into a shriek as she pointed at me. "How can you be here? Weren't you in the room?" As soon as her words came out, everyone looked at her with suspicious eyes. I asked word by word, "Mother, I have been keeping vigil before my husband's coffin all along. Why would I be in this room? Why are you so certain I was in the room?" Condemning me without even a glance and ordering someone to drown me in a pig cage. The aunt gave her a deep look and said with dissatisfaction, "Old madam, let's first see who this person really is." The mother-in-law's heart pounded with fear. She took a step forward to look into the room and suddenly jumped up. "Ruyan, how could it be you?" Then, she flailed her hands in a panic. "Quick, close the door and fetch clothes for the young lady to put on." With reddened eyes, I tugged at the aunts from the clan. "I know my mother doesn't like me. But how could she lie so blatantly and slander me like this? Aunts, you must stand up for me. An aunt patted my hand. Don't worry, we can all testify for you in this matter. In the past, because Xie Chen was a general, the mother-in-law had always been arrogant in front of the clan members and treated them with little respect. The aunt, with a dark expression, gave the order, "Someone, make those two put on their clothes and get out here, now that they see her in such a situation." Everyone can't help but feel a sense of Schadenfreude. Her precious daughter, whom she had always praised to the skies, was actually secretly meeting with an outsider. Let's see how she handles this. Xie Ruyan put on her clothes and, along with the man, was dragged out and thrown before the clan leader and everyone in the front hall. Everyone exclaimed in shock. The man turned out to be the nephew of the mother-in-law, Jiyu Jiping, who was staying at the general's mansion, a down-and-out scholar. He had been living off the general's mansion while preparing for the imperial examinations. The mother-in-law enjoyed helping her maiden family, and when her nephew arrived, she went out of her way to protect and support him, turning him into a spoiled second-generation noble. He spent his days chasing after women and idling about, with no intention of studying for the imperial examinations. Xie Ruyan had already tightly clutched her skirt, pointing at me and shrieking, "Shen Ruyue, it was you, you drugged me, you put something in the ginseng soup." My expression darkened. "Ruyan, ever since I married into the general's mansion, I have treated you like a younger sister. Why would I drug you? The ginseng soup was brought by you last night, and everyone in the small kitchen can testify to that, and I was also keeping vigil in the morning hall all last night. There were many clan members and servants present who can testify. How could I possibly harm you?" Auntie's face darkened. "We can testify for Ruyue. She was indeed in the morning hall." "Xie Ruyan, what on earth is going on with you?" I looked at Xie Ruyan with an expression of disappointment. "Ruyan, how could you be so foolish? You are the general's sister, a noble lady of the capital. If you like your cousin, you only need to tell the elders, and they will arrange a proper match for you with all the formalities. How could you engage in a secret affair? Now that your elder brother has passed away, you are the only legitimate daughter left in the general's household. How could you do such a thing? If this matter gets out, how will you ever marry?" Xie Ruyan was so anxious she felt dizzy, crying out, "How could I possibly have taken a liking to my cousin? I am to marry into a noble family and become a matriarch. It was him. He assaulted me." My words seemed to awaken Jiyu Jiping, who suddenly exclaimed, "No, please, aunt and aunties, make the decision. Ruyan and I are truly in love and have feelings for each other. Last night, she asked me to meet her secretly. When we saw each other, we couldn't control ourselves and made a mistake. I am willing to ask for Ruyan's hand in marriage. Please, aunt, grant us your blessing." Xie Ruyan lunged forward to tear at him, crying, "Nonsense. How could I possibly be in love with you?" Jiyu Jiping thought that since the deed was already done, it wouldn't be bad to marry Xie Ruyan. He could then legitimately live in the general's mansion, and everything would be his in the future. He grabbed Xie Ruyan and held her tightly, saying, "Ruyan, have you forgotten how passionate you were last night? It was clearly you who took the initiative to invite me. Don't be afraid, I will definitely marry you." Xie Ruyan tearfully threw herself at her mother-in-law, sobbing, "Mother, I don't want to marry him. He's just a poor, useless scholar with nothing to his name and an empty house. I don't want to marry him." Mother-in-law's face turned ashen as she slapped her. "You fool, you can't accomplish anything but only cause trouble. If you don't want to marry your cousin, do you want to be drowned in a pig cage?" I stepped forward. "Sister-in-law, I know you've always admired your cousin's talent. If you marry him, I'm sure you'll be a harmonious couple. Otherwise, now that you've lost your innocence, death truly is the only way out." Xie Ruyan finally fell into despair, closed her eyes, and fainted dead away. I breathed a long sigh of relief in my heart. This time, it wasn't me who was called a wanton woman and drowned in a pig cage. I finally didn't have to return to the nightmare of my past life. In this life, I want to see how they will end up. Before the general's body had even grown cold, a woman in the inner quarters of the general's mansion was caught in an affair. At my signal, the news quickly leaked and spread. On the day of Xie Chen's funeral, as soon as the mansion gates opened, The curious crowd that had gathered outside was already waiting to watch the spectacle. My mother-in-law's face was ashen, dressed in mourning clothes. I supported her, but she pushed me away fiercely. I don't need your false kindness. If it weren't for you, Ruyan wouldn't have ended up like this. She pushed me to the ground, and tears fell. I looked up at her, my face wet with tears. Mother, it's all my fault. Please don't let anger harm your health. Yes, my sister-in-law's affair with an outsider was indeed due to my lax discipline as the general's wife. It wasn't wrong to say it was my fault. My ambiguous words made the onlookers whisper among themselves. Could it be that the one having the affair is the general's wife? It must be, otherwise why would the old lady be so angry? Why hasn't such a person been divorced and drowned in the pond? Even the general would be furious enough to come back to life. Adulteress, drown her in the pond. Yes, put her in a pig cage and bury her with the general. The emotions of the crowd grew increasingly intense, and it seemed the situation was spiraling out of control. A commotion erupted from outside. The general has returned. The general is alive. Everyone turned in surprise to look behind them. A carriage had come to a stop, and as the curtain was lifted, the person who stepped down was none other than my husband, Xie Chen. He then turned and carefully helped a delicate, charming woman down from the carriage. Her prominent belly suggested she was about 7 or 8 months pregnant. I exclaimed in surprise, "Husband, you're still alive." Xie Chen saw me and was startled. Immediately looking up at my mother-in-law, she, disregarding everything else, rushed forward to grasp his hand. "My son, you've finally returned. If you hadn't come back, your mother and sister would have been driven to their deaths." I asked in a daze, "What do you mean by finally returned? Mother, didn't my husband die? Did you know he was alive? Were you waiting for him to come back all along?" My mother-in-law faltered for a moment, then snapped sharply, "Shut up. This is no place for you to speak." Xie Chen looked at me with icy eyes. "Shun Ruyue, you've done a great deed." I returned to the capital after narrowly escaping death, only to hear the whole city gossiping about a woman from the general's mansion having an affair with an outsider. It's fortunate I didn't die. If I had, this cuckold's hat would have been placed on my head. My death notice had only been out for a few days, and you couldn't bear the loneliness. If I hadn't been saved by Yunyang, I might not have made it back to the capital alive to see your true face. It's truly disgusting. With a pitiful expression, I said, "Husband, please listen to my explanation. I didn't do it." Slap. He struck me across the face with a slap. "A wanton woman like you is not welcome in our general's mansion. I will write a letter of divorce immediately. Get out of my Xie family at once." After speaking, he took Yunyang's hand and led her before his mother. "Mother, this is Yunyang. She is carrying the legitimate eldest grandson of our Xie family. Once I divorce this wretched woman Shun Ruyue, I will marry Yunyang right away." Then, he looked at Yunyang with deep affection. "After I go to the palace to receive my reward, I will strive to secure a noble title for you." I stood behind, watching the clan leader and aunts in stunned silence, and let out a sorrowful cry. "Clan leader and aunts, please stand up for Ruyue." Ruyue served her mother-in-law in the household, treated her sister-in-law kindly, preserved her purity, and remained chaste for her husband. I never expected that as soon as my husband returned, he would accuse me of being unfaithful, having an affair with another man, and even wanting to divorce me. He already had a mistress outside. What savior? Your death news reached the capital a month ago. Even if this girl saved you and you took her as a concubine, her belly couldn't possibly be 7 or 8 months pregnant. You are full of lies. You actually had a mistress outside long ago, but you conspired with your sister-in-law and mother-in-law to harm me, trying to ruin my chastity and divorce me to make room for your mistress. Aunt, clan leader, the one who had an affair with an outsider was Xie Ruyan. My husband accused me before even stepping through the mansion gate. It's clear this was planned from the start. Xie Chen, as a general, you knowingly broke the law by abandoning your wife to remarry and plotting to harm your lawful wife. I will go and sound the imperial drum to bring a complaint before the emperor. I will sue your Xie family, sue you, Xie Chen, for faking your death and conspiring with your mother and sister to harm your lawful wife. I demand a divorce from you." I wept bitterly, yet every word I spoke laid bare the entire truth. The onlookers outside erupted in an uproar. What? So the general's sister was having an affair with an outsider? That's right. As soon as the general returned, he brought back a pregnant woman. It's obvious she had been kept outside for a long time. He didn't even step into the mansion before accusing his wife of adultery. Something's clearly fishy here. This is clearly the Xie family's scheme to frame Shuai, planning to divorce her and marry the mistress. Could it be that the general really faked his death on purpose? What kind of people are the Xie family? The general's wife is truly pitiful. I heard that when news of the general's death came back, she was so heartbroken she even threw herself against the coffin. Xie Chen, hearing my words, looked flustered and turned to his mother-in-law. Mother, what is going on? The mother-in-law stammered, unable to speak clearly. The aunt stepped forward, looking at the family with disdain. Xie Chen, your sister Ruyan has been caught in an affair with her cousin and is now locked in the woodshed, and you, upon returning, show no concern for your lawful wife, yet spew nothing but slanderous words, and even bring back a woman on the verge of childbirth. How do you expect Ryue to live? Xie Chen never imagined that things would turn out like this. He was instantly at a loss for words, while Yunyang clung tightly to him, timidly saying, Husband, this must be my elder sister. I cut her off. Madam, please watch your words. My parents only gave birth to me, their legitimate daughter, and I have no sisters. If you are Xie Chen's concubine, not yet married and not having performed the concubine's rites, I dare not accept your address as sister. That Yunyang's eyes reddened, looking pitifully at Xie Chen, who frowned at me and said, Ryue, I misunderstood you. This matter is a long story. Yunyang is carrying my child and is about to give birth. I must give her and the child a proper status. Now that I know it was a misunderstanding, I will not divorce you. You will still be the general's wife, but I must give Yunyang the status of a secondary wife, so that the child, when born, can be considered legitimate. She is also the daughter of an official family, and it would be too unfair for her to be a concubine. She does not look down on your family's background as imperial merchants and is willing to address you as a sister and coexist peacefully with you. I looked at his face and felt a wave of nausea. In my previous life, my Shen family spared no effort to assist him, from supplying provisions to later handling various matters after returning to the capital. He fed on the flesh and blood of the Shen family, yet looked down upon us, believing that as a royal merchant family, we were unworthy of the prestige of their general's household. Such a hypocritical and sanctimonious attitude is truly disgusting. I sneered coldly. You want to abandon your wife and remarry, bringing a mistress into the household? Absolutely impossible. If you want her to enter this house, first sign this divorce agreement. I took out the divorce agreement I had prepared long ago and handed it to Xie Chen. My mother-in-law stepped forward, grabbing him and whispering, You can't divorce her, you must cast her out, her dowry must be kept. I heard my mother-in-law's words and shouted out loudly, What? You want to divorce me and swallow my Shen family's dowry? I ask the elders and aunts of the Shen family to bear witness. I, Shen Ryue, have been married into the Xie family for many years, with a grand dowry. Everything in the Xie family has been managed and renovated with my dowry, and even the mansion of the general's residence was bought with my dowry money. Now, the general has a mistress outside, and inside, he colludes with his mother and sister to harm me. They even want to divorce me and seize my dowry. I believe I have done right by the Xie family. Even the 1,000 taels of silver given to the Xie family school every year came from my dowry. The clan leader's expression changed. What are you saying? The funds for the clan school, didn't the old lady say they were provided by Xie Chen? I took the account book and opened it. Every year, this 1,000 taels has been allocated from my private treasury. Please take a look, clan leader. Also, the money given to the impoverished members of the clan during festivals was also provided by me. Xie Chen has been withdrawing money from the accounts all along, but the income of the general's estate is less than 1,000 taels per year. Over the past 5 years, Xie Chen has withdrawn a total of 30,000 taels from me, all of which came from my Shen family's money. I have a clear conscience toward the Xie family, yet this is how Xie Chen repays me. How does he have the face to divorce his wife? Please, clan leader, make a fair judgment for me. If there is no justice, I can only take this matter to the authorities to seek the truth. The mother-in-law sneered sharply. What do you mean, your money? Once you married into our Xie family, your dowry became the property of the Xie family. Spending your money on us is simply your duty as a daughter-in-law. The bystanders were both angry and amused, exclaiming, "Good heavens! I've never seen such shamelessness using a daughter-in-law's dowry money. How can she have the nerve to say such things with that old face of hers?" It turns out the general has always been so lavish with his spending in the army. It was all his wife's money. He bought a house at the border and kept a mistress. All using his wife's money. The shamelessness of the Xie family is truly hereditary. The Xie clan members were so humiliated their faces turned dark. The clan elder slammed the account book down. "Xie Chen, as a general, you actually used your wife's money. How can you have the nerve? Pay back the money to Madame Shen." Xie Chen hurried to explain. "Shen Ruyue willingly gave this to me herself." I smiled, stepped forward, and threw the account book in his face. "You used my money to support a mistress, and you did so with such a clear conscience. I may have been foolish in the past, but I am not foolish now. I want a divorce from you. If you don't return the money today, I will take this matter to the authorities." I looked up at Yun Yang. Xie Chen claimed she was the daughter of an official family, but in truth, she was merely the daughter of a disgraced official. Putting on airs of a noble lady in front of me was truly laughable. "Madam, as the daughter of an official family, I presume you wouldn't want to remain a mistress forever. If Xie Chen does not agree to the divorce, I will never allow you to enter the household. For the rest of your life, you will remain a mistress, and your children will forever be illegitimate, with no chance of rising above their station." The crowd outside had already gone wild with excitement, and more people were rushing over to watch the commotion. Xie Chen, his face dark with anger, roared, "Enough! Shen Ruyue, all you talk about is silver. You truly are a merchant's daughter, willingly degrading yourself. Fine, I agree to divorce you." I reached out my hand and said, "Before the divorce, return the 30,000 taels of silver." Xie Chen turned to his mother and said, "Mother, first take out your private savings to repay the debt." My mother-in-law was unwilling to comply. How could she possibly take out the money that was already in her hands? Xie Chen whispered, "Do you want the Xie family to lose all face? Let's get through this hurdle first. Shen Ruyue loves me so much. When she comes back begging for me, I'll make her repay tenfold." Reluctantly, my mother-in-law took out 30,000 taels in silver notes. Xie Chen signed the divorce agreement and threw it at me, saying, "Fine, the divorce agreement is signed. You can leave now." I smiled, turned around, and instructed my people, "Good, everyone. Take inventory of the dowry and all the things our Shen family brought. Move everything out." Holding the 30,000 taels of silver notes, I looked at the Minister of War, who was watching the commotion in the crowd, and stepped forward to say loudly, "Minister, I am willing to donate these 30,000 taels of silver notes to the court to purchase provisions and winter clothing for the soldiers at the border, as a small contribution from a commoner." As soon as I spoke, the Minister of War's expression changed. 30,000 taels, in the current situation of strained state finances, was a timely solution to their urgent needs. The surrounding commoners erupted in excitement, donating all 30,000 taels. "Miss Shen is truly generous. Look at her donating money to the border soldiers, while the general uses his money to support a mistress. What a stark contrast, it's truly infuriating." The minister looked at me. "Miss Shen, are you truly determined to donate 30,000 taels?" I nodded. "When the nation is in peril, every citizen has a duty. Though I cannot go to the battlefield, I still wish to contribute my part to the country." The minister excitedly took the banknote. "Excellent, Miss Shen. Your righteousness is commendable. I will report this to His Majesty, and you will surely receive a reward." I turned and instructed the servants, "Bring out all of my dowry. Use the silver from my dowry to purchase and add items. Take everything that can be moved, and smash whatever cannot be taken away." The mother-in-law screamed, "How dare you?" I sneered, "Why wouldn't I dare? It's my money, and I can spend it or throw it away as I please." Xie Chen grabbed me and said, "Shen Ruyue, if you go too far, there will be no turning back when you regret it." "I won't let you through the door again." I pushed him away and said, You're only fit to be with your mistress. As for me, Shunryu, you're no longer worthy." My nanny stepped forward and grabbed my mother-in-law's hand. "Madam, forgive my offense, but these 4 bracelets on your hand are all part of our young lady's dowry, as are this gold hairpin, this necklace, these earrings, and this hair ornament." As she spoke, she deftly stripped all the jewelry from the old lady, even taking off the brocade outer robe, because it was also part of my dowry. After my servants had moved everything away, the entire general's mansion was left with only a pile of old, worn-out furniture inside. The Shun family left in a grand manner, leaving only the Xie family standing there in disarray, while onlookers jeered. "So, the Xie family has been relying on the Shun family's young lady all along. How shameless. The wife is leaving, and the entire general's mansion is in shambles. Serves them right." The Xie family members watched this scene unfold, their anger boiling over. The clan leader, thinking of the 1,000 taels of silver for the clan school each year that had now gone up in smoke, was so furious he felt dizzy. This is absurd. Favoring a concubine over the wife to such an extent is utterly improper. "Let's go." With a flick of his sleeve, he led the clan members away. Xie Chen had returned from the dead, but he came back with a mistress who was about to give birth. The news of his divorce from the general's wife quickly spread throughout the capital. Meanwhile, my act of donating 30,000 taels of silver from my dowry was widely praised by the people of the capital. I brought the people back to the mansion the Shun family had bought in the capital. As soon as I entered the estate, I found that my parents had just arrived from Jiangnan. My mother hugged me and cried, "My Yue has suffered so much." We rushed to the capital as soon as we received the letter, but we still couldn't make it in time to stand up for you. When we heard about Xie Chen faking his death and favoring his concubine over his wife, your father was so angry he couldn't sleep for several nights. I held my mother tightly. "Mother, it's all over now. Your daughter is perfectly fine, living a second life and seeing my parents alive and well." Tears welled up in my eyes. In my previous life, they were driven to their deaths by the Xie family. This time, I finally managed to protect myself and my family. Xie Chen brought Yunyang into the estate, seeing the general's residence in complete disarray, with ruins scattered everywhere. He gritted his teeth in anger. "What a fine Shunryu." Then, looking at the old lady, he said, "Wasn't it agreed to drug Shunryu? How did it turn into Ruyan having an affair with someone?" Just as he was speaking, Xie Ruyan, having heard that her elder brother had returned, broke free from the servants and rushed in. "Elder brother, you must stand up for me. It was Shunryu who swapped my ginseng soup, causing me to lose my innocence. It was clearly meant for her to drink. She must have switched it. That venomous woman. Elder brother, avenge me." Xie Chen's eyes turned red with anger. "You couldn't even handle such a small matter properly. All her dowry was supposed to belong to the Xie family. But now everything has gone to waste. She took all her dowry away. How are we, the Xie family, supposed to survive? You are no longer a chaste woman, if you don't marry Jiyu Jiping. What else do you plan to do? Do you want to be drowned in a pig cage? Who would want to marry a worn-out shoe?" The old lady wailed and cried, "My private treasury's silver. Chenna, why don't you try to coax that wretched woman, at most? Promise her the status of a secondary wife and trick her into bringing the dowry back. In order to gather these 30,000 taels, I used up all my money. Now I'm penniless. That wretched woman Shunryu even took away all the jewelry she had given me before. When Xie Ruyan returned to her room, she found it had been ransacked, completely swept clean. All the silk garments were gone, and the jewelry and decorative items had been cleared out as well." Yunyang looked at the mess in the Xie residence, secretly regretting her actions, while Xie Chen said to her, "Yunyang, take out the silver I gave you to help with the expenses. First, get the general's mansion in order. From now on, you will be the mistress of the general's mansion." Being the mistress of the mansion meant having to spend her own money to support the entire Xie family. All the valuable decorative items and furniture in the Xie family had been taken away by me. To maintain appearances, they had to be repurchased, and the silver in Yunyang's hands flowed out like water. Meanwhile, on the second day, Jiyu Zhiping made a grand show by hiring a matchmaker to propose marriage, causing a public spectacle. In front of the general's mansion, he proudly declared, "Miss Xie and I are truly in love. There is no such thing as an illicit affair, it's just that we are deeply fond of each other, and in a moment of passion, we made a mistake." Xie Chen was so furious that his face turned pale, yet he could do nothing about this scoundrel. The elderly Lady Xie looked at her own nephew, unable to scold or strike him. She could only watch as Xie Ruyan cried and made a scene. Helpless to prevent the exchange of betrothal cards with Jiyu Zhiping and the setting of the wedding date, after faking his death and returning, Xie Chen was soon to resume his duties at court. Expecting to be rewarded by the emperor for his achievements and promoted 3 ranks. However, before he could even report back to court, the Minister of War had already arrived at the general's mansion with his men. "Xie Chen, you have been accused of abusing your power for personal gain at the border, accepting bribes, promoting unworthy individuals, and allowing others to falsely claim military achievements." Xie Chen was stunned and said urgently, "I didn't." The Minister of Personnel sneered, "You didn't, but your wife at the border has accepted many on your behalf. Now that the evidence is all here, what more do you have to say?" Xie Chen's face turned ashen. "My wife?" He turned to look at Yun Yang, who wore a pitiful expression and stepped back, saying, "I didn't know. Those ladies insisted on giving those banknotes. I thought the border was harsh and cold, and I accepted them for my husband's sake. I only agreed to put in a good word for you when you promoted those people, and I didn't accept much silver." The Minister of Revenue said, "Madam, you may not have collected much, but it amounts to over 10,000 taels of silver. Do you know how many commoners could be sustained with over 10,000 taels of silver? By imperial decree, the general is ordered to surrender all embezzled silver and await dismissal pending further disposition." Yun Yang tearfully handed over all the banknotes, sobbing as she said, "General, if we give away all the silver, we'll have nothing left." Xie Chen slapped her across the face. "Right now, whether we can even save our lives is uncertain, and you still want to hold on to the silver. You've always claimed to despise wealth, yet you dared to secretly accept so much silver behind my back. You're going to be the death of me." Old Lady Xie glared at her fiercely. "If it weren't for your pregnancy, the family discipline would have been applied harshly. You wretch, if my son loses his official position because of you, I will not let you off." Yun Miang had already spent a significant portion of the silver she had collected, and now it still fell short. The Xie family dug out their most treasured possessions, pawned some and sold others, struggling to gather enough silver to meet the demand. The newly furnished general's residence was once again empty. Now, gazing at the truly bare-walled mansion, Xie Chen slumped into his chair. "If I had known this would happen, I should have treated Shenrua well. At least when she was in the mansion, everyone lived in luxury." When Xie Chen was suspended from his duties by the emperor for investigation, the very next day, Jiyu Zhiping broke off his engagement with Xie Ruyan and moved out of the general's residence with his belongings. As he left the estate carrying his bundle, he tossed down the betrothal document and said, "The general's household can't even protect itself now. I'm as pure as snow. Lest you drag me down and ruin my chances of passing the imperial exams." He then looked at Xie Ruyan and said, "You've always wanted to marry into a noble family. Now I'm granting your wish. From now on, you and I will go our separate ways." After saying that, he rolled up his bundle and ran off on his own, leaving Xie Ruyan weeping and wailing. Now that her reputation was ruined and Jiyu Zhiping had broken off the engagement, who would still marry her? When I heard these news, quite some time had already passed. I laughed, thinking the Xie family had finally met their day. In my previous life, after my death, my vengeful spirit lingered, and I inadvertently learned that Yun Yang had accepted silver behind Xie Chen's back. In this life, I will make them reap what they have sown. Yun Yang's days in the general's mansion are far from easy now, because she caused Xie Chen to be suspended and investigated. Everyone in the mansion sees her as a jinx. Meanwhile, Xie Chen leaves early and returns late, pulling strings everywhere in an attempt to regain his official position. He even came to the Shen family to see me. When I saw him, he looked haggard, but upon seeing me, a gentle smile spread across his face. Ryue, have you been well? I've thought it over, and I was wrong. Yunyang's character truly isn't fit to be a wife, she can only be a concubine. I should not have hurt your heart because of her. I have decided to take her as a concubine. And you alone will be my lawful wife. As long as you nod, I will call someone to propose again and marry you once more. Alright, I couldn't help but laugh in anger. Did he really think he was some kind of hot commodity? I shook him off. General Xie, please show some self-respect. You and I are already divorced. Men and women are free to marry as they please. And who you want to marry has nothing to do with me anymore. Thinking about how he had harmed me in my past life. I wished I could eat his flesh and drink his blood, yet here he was, dreaming that I still loved him and would fill this bottomless pit for him. Besides, the general's wife is about to give birth. It would be best for the general to rein in his thoughts and focus on comforting his wife. He grew anxious. How could she be considered a wife? She's just the daughter of a disgraced official, unworthy of the title. If you don't like her, I can send her away, to the estate, to the borderlands. Anywhere, she'll never appear before us again. Alright, I looked at him in disbelief. She's carrying your flesh and blood. How could you be so heartless? Xie Chen smiled. I knew you cared about this. Don't worry, I'll only cherish our children. She's just a concubine, a plaything. It doesn't matter where she ends up. Husband, what are you saying? Are you abandoning me and our child? Yun Niang, heavily pregnant, had actually followed him and now stood behind him. Her eyes red as she stared at him. My maid stood by with a clever look on her face, clearly having intentionally let her into the mansion. Xie Chen angrily said, So what, haven't you already caused me enough suffering? It's already good enough that I haven't divorced you. The only one I love is Ryue, and she will be my only rightful wife. Just as the commotion was at its peak, a flurry of hurried footsteps and clamor approached. The imperial decree has arrived. A eunuch entered the mansion holding an imperial edict. By the mandate of heaven, the emperor decrees, Shun Ryue, the legitimate daughter of the Shun family, harbors loyalty to her family and country, selflessly donating 30,000 taels of dowry silver. The emperor is deeply moved and hereby bestows upon Shun Ryue the title of Jiaoyang County Princess. So it is decreed. I knelt to express gratitude and receive the edict. My father and mother had already taken the reward silver and invited the eunuch forward for tea. Holding the imperial edict, I looked at Xie Chen. General Xie, the Shun Ryue of today is beyond your reach. If you continue to harass me unreasonably, I can report you to the authorities for overstepping your bounds. Xie Chen's face turned ashen upon returning to the general's mansion. Before he could even settle, officials arrived at the door. Xie Chen, is Li Yunyang present? The Dali Temple has investigated and found that you accepted bribes at the border and falsely claimed military achievements. Your general title is hereby revoked, your family property confiscated. You are to receive 50 lashes and be exiled 3,000 li. As for Li Yunyang, in consideration of her pregnancy, she is to be imprisoned and exiled after giving birth. Then, with a clank of chains, the two were escorted into the prison. The general's mansion fell into ruin overnight. The old lady, overwhelmed with rage, suddenly suffered a stroke and was left paralyzed in bed. As for Xie Ruyan, she had no intention of caring for her mother. That very night, she abandoned her and vanished without a trace. The general's family property was confiscated, leaving only an old servant who escorted the old lady to the family temple. Within half a year, she passed away. As for me, I had no desire to remarry. I took over the family business from my father and managed it with great efficiency. With the title of county princess, I enjoyed privileges that others did not, and soon the business flourished even more. The Shun family's shops became renowned throughout the country, and each year, I donate 20% of the Shun family's profits to charity halls to aid the poor and needy. Gradually, everyone began to praise the princess of Jiaoyang County as a great philanthropist. In the winter, heavy snow fell in the capital. I sat in a warm carriage on my way to inspect the charity hall's porridge distribution. Yet, among the queue, I spotted a familiar figure, Xie Ruyan. Dressed in tattered clothes like a beggar, the maid noticed my daze and asked what I was looking at. I smiled slightly and said, nothing, just something not worth mentioning. The carriage continued forward, and I smiled. From then on, my future was bright, with no more old sorrows to weigh me down. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In the 3rd year of accompanying my husband in his exile to Lingnan, the imperial court issued a pardon decree. My once considerate husband suddenly became very careless. He accidentally wrote a divorce agreement with me, and then carelessly drafted a marriage certificate for himself and his childhood sweetheart, so that the two of them could return to the capital together, free from their crimes. I didn't cry or make a scene, I just forgot to tell him. This pardon document was issued to me. Without me, he can never return to the capital. It was my carelessness. I absent-mindedly wrote a divorce letter while practicing calligraphy, and I'm afraid I won't be able to take you with me this time. Xiao Jingyan's tone was light, as if he were discussing some amusing village gossip with me. I accompanied Xiao Jingyan in his exile to Lingnan for 3 years, where we were enlisted into the military to cultivate army fields. Life was simple and hard, but we lived in harmony. I thought we would continue like this forever, but ever since Song Lianyue was also exiled here with her family, the usually considerate Xiao Jingyan became careless. He finally managed to get a peck of rice, but carelessly poured it into the rice jar of Song Lianyue, who lived next door. I had been eating cornbread with him for a long time. The fish soup that our neighbor, Aunt Sun, gave me was also delivered to the wrong house by him. It wasn't that I didn't get angry with him, but he just looked remorseful and said, "I've been too busy lately, and I get so dizzy that I tend to be careless." If I continued to pester him, he would look disappointed. "Ruoyun, you weren't so petty before. Is it because that person is Song Lianyue?" The bitterness in my heart was instantly caught in my throat, unable to rise or fall. On the eve of the Xiao family's downfall, they were rejected by Song Lianyue. Xiao Jingyan was deeply shocked for a moment. I was the head maid by Lady Xiao's side, forced by her to marry Xiao Jingyan. On the night of our wedding, I was shackled and exiled together with him to Lingnan. At this moment, seeing that I was not angry and questioning him as I had in the past, he looked surprised, pondered for a moment, and then smiled, saying, "I knew you would be obedient and sensible, and wouldn't make a fuss with me." As he spoke, he tried to take my hand, but I slightly avoided it, turned around, and lifted the heavy wooden bucket. "I have to wash the clothes. If I don't finish, I'll be punished." Xiao Jingyan was stunned. To earn some spare silver for his studies and writing, I took on the job of washing the daily clothes for the nearby soldiers. Each time, it took up most of the day, and I still had to manage household chores, leaving no time for idle chatter. "You didn't have to do all this." Seeing the bundle I had already packed, Xiao Jingyan's brows and eyes finally showed a trace of guilt. "Once I return to the capital and get settled, I will do everything in my power to bring you back to the capital, and we can live a good life together." Without turning around, I carried the wooden bucket to Aunt Sun's house next door. Aunt Sun's son worked as a minor official at the courier station and said that the pardon document from the capital would arrive in this small mountain village in 3 days. I breathed a sigh of relief. After living in this small mountain village for 3 years, it was time for me to leave. Originally, I could have taken Xiao Jingyan with me. I had envisioned that upon returning to the capital, I would surely work with Xiao Jingyan to revitalize the Xiao family. Xiao Jingyan was implicated by his relatives and found guilty. Although he appeared content with his current situation, he came from a prominent family and was highly learned and talented. How could he lack ambition? But now, it's no longer necessary. I glanced at the divorce agreement. I can't take him with me either. A commotion came from outside the courtyard. "Xiao Jingyan, you divorced Ruoyun and now you're writing a marriage contract with me. With this contract, you can take me away from this foul place, yet you say you have no feelings for me anymore." It was Song Lianyue, now dressed in coarse cloth. She may appear disheveled, yet she still carries herself with pride. It seems that Xiao Jingyan has been taking good care of her these days. Though I had long known the truth, my heart still ached sharply, and a burning sensation surged through my chest, causing me to cough violently. Xiao Jingyan turned and saw me, his face paling as he hurriedly pushed Song Lianyue away. "Enough, I won't allow you to sow discord between Ruoyun and me, he hurriedly explained to me. Don't listen to her nonsense, I just didn't want to waste the opportunity to return to the capital, since we've already separated. I arranged a marriage contract with her afterward, so I could bring her back with me as well. It was just a convenient thing to do. Seeing that I remained silent, he slightly furrowed his brow. I didn't tell you because I was worried you'd get upset again. You haven't been feeling well lately, and I was thinking of you. I sighed softly. Aren't you afraid that the pardon might be a false rumor? Song Lianyue sneered. I heard yesterday that the pardon documents for you have already been issued. What would a servant like you know? Xiao Jingyan also looked at me disapprovingly. My return is already a foregone conclusion. You used to be the one who most hoped I could go back to the capital. Why are you saying such discouraging words now? The two of them stood together, their coarse cloth clothes unable to conceal the pride accumulated from years of living in comfort and privilege. In the end, I am not worthy. I didn't want to argue further, as the truth would be revealed in 2 days anyway. Now I want to go inside and taste the mixed grain soup made by Aunt Sun even more, as I won't be able to have it in the future. Song Lianyue, however, didn't want me to leave. She stood tall and blocked my way. I heard you have medicine for coughs. Hurry up and give it to me. Xiao Jingyan stepped in front of me, his face darkening. Ruyun has been sick for so long. Don't even think about taking her medicine. Song Lianyue was rebuffed for the first time. She stomped her foot, covered her face, and ran away. Xiao Jingyan smiled and assured me, don't worry, she can't take what's yours. I looked at him and said, but the most important thing has already been taken by her. Xiao Jingyan was taken aback. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but in the end, under my teasing gaze, he left in embarrassment. Aunt Sun happened to come out to hang the laundry, and she curled her lips at the two retreating figures. They're still too idle, always caught up in love and romance. If they plowed a couple more acres of land, they'd settle down. She then turned to urge me, hurry up and brew your medicine to take it. Your husband really doesn't know what's good for him. Just as I was brewing the medicine that Aunt Sun had asked someone to buy from town, Xiao Jingyan happened to return. As soon as he entered the courtyard, he saw the medicine pot bubbling away. As he had done many times before, he gently took my hand, as if the previous discord had never occurred. You've been tired all day, go back and rest, I'll take care of brewing the medicine. I calmly withdrew my hand. Now that you and I have no connection, there's no need to trouble yourself. A flicker of hurt crossed Xiao Jingyan's face. Don't be so distant with me, okay? I felt a moment of daze. His affectionate and tender appearance seemed unchanged over these 3 years. Xiao Jingyan pushed me back into the room, then naturally closed the doors and windows for me, carefully reminding, if you get bored, read the picture books. I wrote several calligraphy sheets to trade for them with Scholar Li at the village entrance. He still remembered my preferences. The smoke was choking, and from time to time, coughing sounds from Xiao Jingyan could be heard in the courtyard. Before Xiao Jingyan was exiled, he was born into a prominent family, with a handsome appearance and a humble demeanor, making him the dream lover of many young women in the capital. As a lowly maid like me, he was a moon I could never reach. In fact, I had not signed a deed of sale at the Xiao residence. The pressure from Madame Xiao was, more often than not, my own choice. Seeing someone who was once out of reach fall into hardship, I always want to lend a hand. When I first married Xiao Jingyan, he was indifferent to me. The hardships of the exile journey were tough, but I gritted my teeth and endured them, even helping him take care of his family. Gradually, he became more sincere toward me, and his eyes reflected only my image. I thought that despite my misfortune, I was also fortunate. Over these 3 years, we have worked together from sunrise to sunset, like the most ordinary yet loving couple. 3 years of caring for each other, and intimate moments were not false. When my emotions were in turmoil, what Xiao Jingyan brought into my room was a cup of light tea. He said with a look of guilt, I was too careless. I poured your medicine into Song Lianyue's bowl. We share a kitchen, so it's easy to be negligent. Now that Song Lianyue has already taken the medicine, we can't make her vomit it out. This tea can also help soothe your cough. Why not drink it for now? Careless again. I thought I no longer cared about his carelessness, but a dull ache still rose in my heart. I looked at him with clear eyes. We are all under surveillance, and going out to buy or sell is incredibly difficult. The village doctor took my pulse and said if my cough couldn't be cured within a month, it would harm my heart. Xiao Jingyan was there at the time, and he was clearly so worried. At that moment, a woman's voice full of reproach sounded from outside the door. Xiao Jingyan, you said drinking this medicine would cure my cough, but why do I feel even worse after drinking it? You said this medicine was hard to come by, that Ruoyun pawned her mother's heirloom and waited several days to get it. That's why I drank it without a second thought. My mocking gaze made Xiao Jingyan abruptly lower his head. He seemed somewhat flustered. Ruoyun, I just thought that since Song Lianyue is new here and not used to the climate, if her cough flared up again it would harm her health. I was only helping her out of our past friendship, please don't overthink it. I smiled gently. It's all right, I don't blame you, because I had already taken the medicine for my cough earlier. Xiao Jingyan had just breathed a sigh of relief and wanted to say something to me. Suddenly, Aunt Sun's exclamation sounded from outside the door. Miss, did you drink the estrus medicine I brewed for my sow? Then you'll have to compensate me if I can't have piglets this year. Xiao Jingyan's face instantly changed color, and he immediately rushed out of the room. I shook my head helplessly. Soon there would be another storm to face. When Xiao Jingyan came to find me again, his expression was as dark as water. He stepped closer to me, step by step. Did you do it on purpose? I helplessly spread my hands. I was just helping Aunt Sun decoct the medicine. You never asked me what medicine I was brewing, and I had no idea you would serve it to Song Lianyue. I paused, looking at him with a half smile. I didn't know you would be careless again. A flicker of embarrassment crossed Xiao Jingyan's face. He sighed, his eyes filled with disappointment. Ruoyun, you used to treat me with sincerity and never played any petty tricks. Although I was careless and made a mistake, I thought that after 3 years of being together day and night, we were the most sincere people to each other. Song Lianyue is a noble-born daughter from a prominent family. Yet she carries the status of a convicted person, staying in this place surrounded by wolves and tigers. It's hard to guarantee her purity. If she loses her purity, she will die. I'm only helping her out of consideration for our past affection. I looked up and asked him, what about me? How can I, a lone woman, survive here on my own? He was taken aback for a moment, then chuckled. All these years, haven't you been fine? Is that so? When I first arrived in this small mountain village in Lingnan, as a young convicted woman, I often caught the leering gazes of some soldiers. Even Xiao Jingyan, with his fair and scholarly appearance, was not spared from being watched. We always worked in crowded places during the day, and at night, we slept with a kitchen knife under our pillows to feel at ease. Once, a few old soldiers, drunk, tried to drag Xiao Jingyan away. It was I who raised the kitchen knife. Threatening to die together with them, my blood-soaked appearance might have frightened them. Only then did those old soldiers give up. Later, with the help of Aunt Sun's son, who mediated for us, we finally had fewer of these troublesome matters. To make it look convincing that time, I did cut my own arm, and to this day, there is a hideous scar. Xiao Jingyan held me in his arms and grieved all night. He solemnly promised, it's my fault that you've suffered all this. If there's a chance to return to the capital, I will definitely take you with me. Xiao Jingyan suddenly turned my face to make me look directly at him. Ruoyun, can we ever go back to the way we were? I looked at him with a bitter smile. What do you think? Xiao Jingyan swayed slightly, and finally let out a long sigh. I have overestimated the bond between us after all. Though I felt somewhat helpless, I was leaving anyway, so I should make things clear with him. After 3 years of marriage, Xiao Jingyan had indeed been considerate and attentive to me. I poured him a pot of coarse tea and gestured for him to sit across from me. Xiao Jingyan's brows relaxed slightly. I knew there was still room for us to turn things around, but then, the sound of tables and chairs being overturned came from next door. Xiao Jingyan frowned, yet he remained seated upright. It's been a long time since we've had a proper talk. The commotion next door grew louder. With faint sounds of crying and fussing, Xiao Jingyan finally stood up. Ruoyun, I'll go take a look and be right back, I reassured him. The medicinal soup was diluted with water. At most, it would just make someone feel a bit feverish for a while. If she's acting out, It might just be a performance. Xiao Jingyan frowned. How can you judge her like that? She's a young lady of noble birth. Her constitution is not something you can simply assess. He finally stood up. I'll go take a look. We can discuss our matters later. I let out a sigh and stopped him. The pardon document was written for me. If you want to return to the capital, you have to. Ruo Yun, don't make a fuss. I know you're resentful about not being able to return to the capital, but making up nonsense just to keep me here is truly unpleasant. It seems I was right not to take you back to the capital. Your vision and breadth of mind are still no match for Lianyue, who comes from a noble family. I hope you can cultivate your character and refine your temperament before I return to fetch you. The faint anger in Xiao Jingyan's eyes made my words catch in my throat. Forget it. No amount of good advice can save those determined to perish. From next door came the occasional sounds of things being thrown, low roars, and a woman weeping. It was quite lively, yet I remained completely unaffected, simply drawing diagrams with my pen. When my father was alive, he had the good fortune to travel to the south and, drawing from ancient texts, developed his own unique insights into flood control. During my 3 years in Lingnan, whenever I had free time, I would observe the local terrain and waterways. Half a year ago, a flood broke out in the southernmost part of Lingnan. I had Sun Da Niang's son deliver my flood control methods to the local county magistrate, and soon the river channels were dredged, effectively preventing further flooding. At the same time, I also presented other flood control plans. To reward me, the court pardoned my exile sentence. Unfortunately, just as I was about to share this good news with Xiao Jingyan, he wrote a letter of separation. The next day, Xiao Jingyan appeared at my door, looking utterly exhausted. His eyes were bloodshot, but they lit up the moment he saw me open the door. He rushed forward and embraced me, his voice hoarse. Ruoyun, I've taken care of the mistake you made yesterday. A wave of nausea rose in my stomach. I pushed him away and nodded indifferently. I heard you. Xiao Jingyan's face flushed with shame. Ruoyun, she's been feeling unwell ever since she drank your medicine. I had no choice but to do this. She is a pure and innocent girl. I originally only intended to bring her back to the capital, give her a title, and settle her somewhere. But now I must marry her in the true sense. I will write the marriage certificate for her right now. Xiao Jingyan spoke. A flicker of pain crossing his face. Ruoyun, I am only atoning for your sins. I felt somewhat irritable, hoping only that he would finish speaking quickly and not disturb my new design ideas. I said, do as you wish. Xiao Jingyan's face lit up with joy. I know you are inherently kind-hearted and capable of recognizing and correcting your mistakes. Ruoyun, I need your blessing. I raised an eyebrow slightly. How exactly do you want to fulfill it? Xiao Jingyan looked hesitant. Speaking with some difficulty, right now, we've just divorced, and if I immediately marry Song Lianyue, others will surely think she was the one who caused trouble in between, which would harm her reputation. Xiao Jingyan turned his head away, as if unable to continue. I scoffed, so you want to divorce me? Others will think it's my fault. After all, if I can be divorced after accompanying you through 3 years of exile, it must mean I've committed a grave mistake. Xiao Jingyan hurriedly explained, Lianyue has always been proud and cares deeply about her reputation. She doesn't want to bear the blame. Only if I divorce you will she agree to sign the marriage contract. Then what reason will you use to divorce me? Xiao Jingyan turned his head away, his voice barely audible. We'll just say you were involved with old Zhong, and I'll divorce you for that. I looked at Xiao Jingyan in disbelief, not sure if he knew what he was saying. 3 months ago, Xiao Jingyan injured his arm while working in the fields. The village doctor said that if the wound wasn't treated with medicine within a day, it would become infected and endanger his life. There was no wound medicine in the village, and old Zhongchu was the overseer in charge of our group. He was known for his lecherous nature but had access to medicine, so I did go to plead with him. Xiao Jingyan, you know full well that it was the medicine I obtained by promising old Zhongchu to take care of his paralyzed mother for a month that saved you. Xiao Jingyan lowered his head, clenched his fists, seemingly struggling, but soon let out a long sigh of relief. Ruoyun, as long as I know you are innocent, that's enough. After all, it's just something written for others to see. Once Lianyue and I are married, I will inform everyone that it was all a misunderstanding. Dream on. The divorce letter requires both parties to sign and seal it, and I will absolutely not sign. Xiao Jingyan closed his eyes. Ruoyun, are you really going to make things difficult for me? In the past, you were always the one who couldn't bear to see me in distress. Why have you changed since Lian Yu arrived? Are you still wary of her after all? Watching Xiao Jingyan's resentful retreating figure, I let out a bitter laugh. I even wondered whether I should tell him the truth, that it was I who had been pardoned from exile, so as to spare him from false hope. The first to come and persuade me was Xiao Jingyan's sister, perhaps thinking she could return to the capital soon. Xiao Jiaojiao changed into a brand new cotton dress. In my mind, my sister-in-law has always been Sister Lianyue. How could a coarse servant like you be worthy of my brother? I ignored her and continued drawing, seemingly provoked by me. Xiao Jiaojiao snatched my paper and tore it to pieces. I didn't indulge her either, slapping her across the face. Get out. She covered her cheek, glaring at me with hatred. We'll leave this wretched place soon. Only you will die poor and lonely here, a sinner for life. Xiao Jiaojiao was young and often fell ill, on the journey into exile. I took care of her day and night, finding food for her. Otherwise, with her frail health, she would have struggled to survive. She had held my hand more than once, saying how fortunate she was to have me as her sister-in-law, that it was only because of me that she and her brother had hope for the future. How did it change so quickly now? Can these people really only share hardships but not prosperity? Xiao Jiaojiao has lived too comfortably these past 3 years. I pitied her for being young and did all her work for her. Without me in the future, she'll realize how hard life in exile is. I shook my head and stopped dwelling on it. Aunt Sun told me that the pardon document has already reached the northern part of Lingnan. Freedom is getting closer and closer to me. There was another commotion next door. Song Lianyue hanged herself, but he was soon rescued by Xiao Jingyan. I was drinking the chicken soup that Aunt Sun had reluctantly decided to make. Xiao Jingyan kicked the door open. His brows were tightly furrowed, his entire face shrouded in the darkness of the night. Lianyue nearly died. Ruoyun, you have a life on your conscience. In the past, you would bandage even a wounded bird. How have you become so cold-hearted now? Lianyue has a proud nature and is used to doing as she pleases. She only has one request, can't you just grant it to her? I almost laughed out loud. We are all exiled criminals, yet she still does as she pleases. If you want to indulge her, go ahead, but don't drag me into it. We are already divorced and have nothing to do with each other. My words enraged Xiao Jingyan. He gasped heavily, his gaze suddenly darkening as he grabbed my arm. Ruoyun, I'm sorry first. An ominous premonition rose in my heart, and I was knocked unconscious after he covered my mouth and nose. When I woke up, I only felt weak in my hands, and a wave of soreness rushed straight to my head. Xiao Jingyan sat by the bed, tucking the quilt in for me. His voice was as gentle as ever. I am about to leave, and I have always been worried about you. Now, let it be known to the outside world that you have become old Zhong's woman. No one within several miles would dare to have designs on you. Once I settle down in the capital, I will send someone to fetch you. This will also confirm the affair between you and old Zhong, and Lian Yu will no longer cause trouble. It's a win-win situation. After saying this, he shouted toward a corner, remember, you are not to touch her. Old Zhongchu was so frightened that he repeatedly bowed. Your Excellency is about to be promoted. How dare I, your humble servant? I wanted to understand what Xiao Jingyan had done. A tremendous rage seemed to consume me as I glared at Xiao Jingyan. Xiao Jingyan, I hate you. Xiao Jingyan suddenly laughed. That's more like you. Back in the village, when I accidentally mistook the rice seedlings for weeds and pulled them out. You used to call my name just as fiercely. He leaned his head close to my ear. Be good, I'm marrying Lianyue tomorrow. Everything is going according to my plan, and I'm very satisfied. I suddenly asked him if I can return to the capital. What status do you plan to give me, a divorced woman with a tarnished reputation? Xiao Jingyan's eyes flickered, seemingly pleased that I had come to understand, yet he avoided my gaze. Lianyue has promised me she won't treat you harshly in the future. The two of you will surely get along well. My mocking smile made Xiao Jingyan somewhat embarrassed. He stood up angrily. I am about to regain my official position. and I am still willing to humble myself to discuss matters with a servant like you, all out of consideration for our past affection. Lianyue and I were originally well matched in social status. Wasn't I forced to marry you back then? What a fine excuse of being forced. I thought 3 years of wholehearted devotion had earned me genuine affection, but it was all just a joke. No wonder you couldn't even be bothered to come up with a decent excuse to fool me. From beginning to end, he never placed me on the same level as himself. I chuckled softly, my face streaked with tears. Xiao Jingyan realized his slip of the tongue and called my name with a hint of concern. I wiped away my tears and gave him a gentle smile. Indeed, I have overreached myself. I wish you 100 years of happiness together. Xiao Jingyan only listened to Song Lianyue's one-sided account, unaware that although Song Lianyue's father was not the mastermind, he was guilty of the serious crime of embezzling disaster relief funds. If not for the merits of the Song family's ancestors, Song's father's lineage would have long been executed. By tying himself to the Song family, Xiao Jingyan can forget about ever leaving Lingnan in this lifetime. Seeing me yield, Xiao Jingyan's expression softened, and he said with a smile, "If only you had understood earlier." After Xiao Jingyan left, old Zhongchu suddenly knelt before me, wearing an ingratiating smile. "Sir, the pardon document and your appointment papers will arrive here tomorrow." Old Zhongchu tidied up the largest and cleanest room for me to stay in and moved out himself. That's fine. Not seeing those few people on the last day put me in a great mood, but someone didn't want to leave me in peace. We still haven't received the pardon document, so we remain tenant farmers, needing to work all day long. I was digging for wild vegetables when Song Lianyue stood in front of me, casually remarking, "To be honest, staying in this small mountain village is quite nice, no scheming or plotting, and the scenery is endlessly beautiful. Why are you so determined to leave?" I gazed at her quietly. "Are those words truly from your heart?" Song Lianyue snorted coldly. "Of course, if it weren't for Brother Xiao insisting on marrying me, I really wouldn't want to leave. Being the mistress of a wealthy household isn't easy either. Well, since this place is so good, then stay here for the rest of your life and enjoy the scenery to your heart's content. You will surely get your wish." Xiao Jingyan slowly approached, and the smug expression on Song Lianyue's face turned into her usual aloofness. Song Lianyue, never take advantage of others' weaknesses. Do not provoke me with your words." Xiao Jingyan's gaze turned dark as he looked at me. "Ruo Yun, you will still need to rely on Lianyue to survive when you return to the capital in the future. Why bother arguing with her?" I swung the sickle forcefully. "A good dog doesn't block the way. You're stepping on my wild vegetables." Both Xiao Jingyan and Song Lianyue were so frightened that they quickly stepped back. The military officer in charge of us heard the commotion and immediately stepped forward, shouting at the two of them in dissatisfaction, "Are you so idle that you've cleared all the weeds?" Xiao Jingyan thought the news of his impending pardon had already spread far and wide, and he frowned. "Why must you be so hostile? I'm about to return to the capital." The army commander spat contemptuously. "As long as you're under my jurisdiction, you follow my orders. Since you have so much free time, go fertilize the fields today." The army commander was burly and imposing. Xiao Jingyan wanted to argue further, but Song Lianyue tugged at his sleeve, forcing him to relent. The army commander tossed a wooden bucket over and urged, "You're not allowed to go back until you finish the work today." In the past, out of respect for Aunt Sun's son, Xiao Jingyan had never done such dirty work, going to the dry toilet to fetch fertilizer and spread it in the fields. The smell alone was enough to make one vomit. Xiao Jingyan instinctively turned his gaze toward me. In the past, I would have gone to Aunt Sun to say a few kind words. Now, I just kept my head down, digging for wild vegetables, thinking about how fresh the wild vegetable egg drop soup would be for dinner. After the army commander left, Song Lianyue leaned out and said with dissatisfaction, "He is still your husband after all. How can you just watch him being bullied like that?" Xiao Jingyan pursed his lips tightly, his gaze toward me also carrying a hint of reproach. I looked at him coldly, feeling no emotion in my heart. "If others can do it, so can he." Song Lianyue sneered mockingly. "When he falls ill, won't it be you who suffers? I thought you were willing to endure all the harm for him." My blood boiled as I realized Xiao Jingyan had even shared the most intimate bedroom banter with Song Lianyue. I calmed myself and looked at Song Lianyue with a half-smile. Now he's your husband. Since you care for him so much, why not help him carry manure? The more you do, the less he has to. Song Lianyue was left speechless and went off to hoe the fields, holding her nose. I had already gathered a full basket of wild vegetables and was heading home. Feeling as if someone's gaze was following me from behind, still too idle. In the evening, as I passed by Song Lianyue's room, I heard a commotion coming from inside. I've already washed it 3 times. There's no smell at all. No, it's smelly. Go wash again, Song Lianyue. This isn't your mansion where you have everything. Aunt Sun was right all day long. It's this love and that love. Plow 2 more acres of land, and you'll settle down. I packed my bags again. Tomorrow, I'm leaving. Early the next morning, Xiao Jingyan kept glancing toward the door, his eyes flickering with impatience. He was waiting for the pardon document. I went to Auntie Sun's house for breakfast, but was interrupted. Xiao Jiaojiao looked triumphant. We'll return to the capital tomorrow. If you were abandoned, with your reputation in tatters, you might as well hang yourself with a rope. I replied calmly, oh. The food and clothes you've had these past 3 years were all earned by my so-called improper labor. If you care so much about your reputation, you might as well hang yourself with a rope. Xiao Jiaojiao immediately flushed with anger, throwing the scattered silver she had saved over the past 3 years and the clothes she had packed at me. Take it back. I find your things filthy. I calmly picked up the coarse clothes and scattered silver. Xiao Jiaojiao couldn't sew clothes. Nor did she have the money to buy ready-made garments. Everything she wore was stitched by me through sleepless nights, hoping she could rely on this single set of clothes for the rest of her life. Xiao Jingyan returned from outside the courtyard once again, his expression displeased. Jiaojiao is childlike at heart. Why bother arguing with her? The sound of horse hooves came from outside the door. Song Lianyue and Xiao Jiaojiao both smoothed their hair and wiped their faces with handkerchiefs. Song Lianyue even took a moment to shake her head at me. So this is how you mistreated your sister-in-law before. It's truly a lack of upbringing. I should never have given up the marriage to you, letting you act so high and mighty here. I revealed my hands, covered in calluses and chilblains. Exactly. Back then when you saw the Xiao family in decline, you immediately came to propose marriage. This is the good life I've had, working in the fields from dawn till dusk, laboring by lamplight at night, while you continued to live as a pampered young lady. If it weren't for your father's corruption, which led to your exile, you wouldn't have even glanced at the Xiao siblings, would you? I clapped my hands again. The Xiao family is ungrateful, and you, Song Lianyue, climbed the ladder by taking advantage of the situation. You two are truly cut from the same cloth. The truth that the 3 of them deliberately avoided facing was laid bare by me. And their expressions grew uneasy. Xiao Jiaojiao protested indignantly. I just want Sister Lianyue to be my sister-in-law. You're trying to sow discord. Xiao Jingyan also looked at me disapprovingly. Back then, Lianyue had her own difficulties. I know you are unhappy, but don't make baseless assumptions about her or tarnish her reputation. With the Xiao siblings protecting her, Song Lianyue grew even more confident. She spoke with the composure of one who had already secured her gains. I know you are unwilling, but it was you who took my place in the marriage with Xiao Lang. Now it's simply a matter of returning what belongs to me. Rest assured, as soon as I arrive in the capital, I will urge Xiao Lang to help you. You still have a chance to return. In the future, we sisters can follow the example of a Huang and Nuying, managing the household for our husband together. With those words, Xiao Jiaojiao looked at him with admiration, and Xiao Jingyan showed a look of approval. As if thinking of the good days back in the capital, Xiao Jingyan's brows relaxed, and he spoke to me with a bit more sincerity. Ruoyun, don't worry, I will definitely bring you back to the capital within a year. Just bear with it a little longer. You've endured 3 years already. What's 1 more year? Bear my ass. The sound of horse hooves grew closer, and my mood grew increasingly joyful. I openly told him, I don't want to endure a single day longer. I want to leave right now. Xiao Jingyan shook his head with a bitter smile, as if looking at a child who didn't understand the situation. Xiao Jiaojiao and Song Lianyue exchanged a glance. then covered their mouths with handkerchiefs and laughed. "You must be desperate to go back. What a pipe dream, excellent. I hope you can still laugh after what comes next." The officials rode their swift horses into the courtyard at full speed. Xiao Jingyan's eyes suddenly brightened. He straightened his hair bun and hurriedly walked outside. Xiao Jiaojiao and Song Lianyi followed closely behind, both wearing expressions of tension and anticipation. The official dismounted, holding the document in his hands, and surveyed the surroundings. "Is the Song family present?" "The Song family." Xiao Jingyan and the other two exchanged puzzled glances, not immediately grasping who he was referring to. Xiao Jiaojiao pointed at her brother, trying to curry favor. "Officer. My brother Xiao Jingyan is right here." The officer ignored him, and upon spotting me standing at the very back, immediately handed the scroll to me with great respect. "This is the pardon document for Lord Song. Please check it." Xiao Jingyan staggered, his eyes filled with shock. The others also wore expressions of disbelief. "How is this possible? The pardon document is for Song Lianyi. What gives her the right? Big brother must have made a mistake. Go and ask quickly." Xiao Jiaojiao anxiously pushed Xiao Jingyan between me and the official. The official shot him a displeased glance before respectfully handing me another document. "This is the appointment document from the Ministry of Works. From now on, Lady Song may serve in the Ministry of Works. I am overjoyed in my heart. For not only have I obtained the pardon document, but I will also have an official position in the future, although it is only a minor official role. It provides me with the opportunity to create more blueprints to benefit the people." I turned back to look at the three of them. Xiao Jiaojiao and Song Lianyue looked terrified, their faces filled with shock and uncertainty. Xiao Jingyan stared at me blankly, muttering something under his breath. "How could this be? How could it be? Over the past 3 years, I have spent every spare moment drawing diagrams, observing the flow of rivers and streams during my labor. And I have even shared my insights on river layouts with Xiao Jingyan, but he always just smiled and brushed it off, never taking it seriously. It seems he never cared about what I was good at or what mattered to me." Xiao Jingyan was the first to snap out of his shock, his voice filled with anger. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" I smoothed my hair at the temples and gave him a gentle smile. "The day I wanted to tell you, you threw the divorce papers at me. I was so heartbroken that I became careless too. You see, bad company corrupts good morals. You're always careless. And now I am too." Xiao Jingyan's face turned pale, and his whole body trembled. The excuses he always used to brush me off have now turned into sharp blades that cut back at him. I continued to laugh. "I could have taken you away with me. I even planned ahead for what kind of house we would buy in the capital. But I can't take you anymore. Because we are no longer husband and wife." Xiao Jingyan's eyes turned bloodshot as he shouted at me. "You still resent me. I told you that divorcing you was an unintentional mistake. Why don't you believe me?" I was both angered and amused by his unreasonable pestering. "Why don't you carelessly forget to eat, forget to sleep, but never forget your old flame? You want to play the hero and save the beauty, yet you don't want to bear the infamy of abandoning your wife. I truly look down on you." Xiao Jingyan, having his thoughts exposed by me, seemed on the verge of collapse. Song Lianyue suddenly screamed, her face filled with jealousy and resentment. "You've already lived with old Zhong. When you marry a chicken, you follow the chicken, you can't leave." I glanced at Xiao Jingyan, who moved his lips but said nothing, his eyes even holding a hint of expectation that I found disgusting. His eyes even lit up as he whispered to me, "Ruo Yun, don't go, stay for my sake, won't you? Let's go back to how we were before, with the husband leading and the wife following." "All right." I looked down at him with disdain. What kind of criminal dares to speak such nonsense? Xiao Jingyan looked at me incredulously. I had never spoken to him like this before. Old Zhongtu rushed in from outside, frightened, and knelt before me. "I only offered my own house for the Lord to stay in. How could I dare to disrespect the Lord?" I returned to old Zhongtu's house to pack my things. The carriage that would take me back to the capital was set to leave tomorrow, with old Zhong and a few soldiers standing guard for me. No one dared to approach. The next day, as soon as I stepped out of the gate, Xiao Jiaojiao knelt before me. She wore a flattering expression. "Sister-in-law, can you take us with you?" I looked at her with a half smile. "Who is your sister-in-law?" Don't try to claim a relationship where there isn't one. She jolted awake and immediately dragged Song Lianyue, who was behind her, in front of me. You, the daughter of a corrupt official, still dream of becoming my sister-in-law. In your dreams, I'll beat you to death. As she spoke, she kicked Song Lianyue fiercely several times. All the pretentious purity and nobility Song Lianyue had shown in front of me turned into utter disarray. I got into the carriage and was stopped just as I left the village entrance. Xiao Jingyan knelt straight in front of the carriage, his figure appearing frail. I signaled the coachman to stop, jumped down from the carriage, and walked toward him. A flicker of excitement crossed Xiao Jingyan's face as he lifted his gaze to look at me. I never thought of abandoning you. I raised an eyebrow and took a step back. He seemed hurt by my attitude, lowered his head, and spoke even more softly. Whether you believe it or not, I initially intended to take Song Lianyue away from here first, then find a way to bring you along. I thought you wouldn't mind, but in the end, I was wrong. I looked down at him from a superior position. Xiao Jingyan, we have no connection now. Your status is probably not suitable for saying these things to me. Xiao Jingyan's face showed a hint of madness. I don't believe you have no feelings for me at all. We were once so intimate. Promising to spend our lives together, you washed my clothes, cooked for me, and helped me through difficulties. Could all of that have been fake? I chuckled softly. At this point, are you still trying to use our past affection to persuade me to take you with me? That only makes me look down on you even more. Xiao Jingyan's face turned pale, his lips quivered, but not a single word came out. The face I once clung to now only showed the embarrassment of being seen through. I no longer looked at him, turned around, and boarded the carriage. The clip-clop of horse hooves, thatched huts, and towering mountain peaks, everything was left behind, fading into the distance. After settling down in the capital, I sent many clothes to Aunt Sun, who had taken great care of me. She also had her son send me a thank you letter in return. After I left, Xiao Jingyan seemed to lose his spirit as well. He often slacked off at work and was repeatedly punished by the military commander. Leaving his body covered in scars, Song Lianyue willingly let herself fall into depravity. To avoid labor, she became the military commander's mistress and often competed with Xiao Jiaojiao for his favor. Whenever Xiao Jingyan had money, he would buy wine to drink, always muttering to himself, "Why was it so peaceful when Ruoyun was here?" In the end, it was my fault. I told Aunt Sun there was no need to keep me updated on their news. I just want to live my own life well. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.